Hello everyone, this is Shannon with Waffle Flower Crafts. In today's video, I'll be working with Waffle Flower's Water Media Mat and combining it with a really cool and easy faux watercolor stamping technique. To start, I have an A2 panel made from 110-pound white cardstock. I also have a flower from the Magnolia Stamp Set mounted onto an acrylic block. You can use whatever image you like for this technique, but I really think florals and leaves work the best. To start the technique, I'm going to create a reservoir of ink on the surface of the water media mat. I'm just scribbling with some tumble dual brush pens, starting with my lightest color, and I did pick analogous colors, so these are colors close to each other on the color wheel. That way I don't get mud when I add water and get the ink moving. And you can see I'm applying the ink kind of in a patchworky style, getting a little bit of those three colors kind of everywhere in that small area on the mat. Now I'm just spritzing with a couple sprays of water, and now I'm ready to start stamping. I'll just move my markers aside to make room for my A2 panel, again made from 110-pound white cardstock. Now I'll grab my stamp it a couple times in that liquid ink, and now it's all ready to stamp onto the panel. I'll remove it here and you'll see it just stamps beautifully. And it's a little hard to see here, but once I'm done, I'll hold it to the camera and it has this kind of soft watercolory look. Almost looks like I painted these flowers and didn't stamp them. This is actually very similar to a classic kind of stamping faux watercolor technique where you color your stamp and then you spritz it with water and then you stamp. But if you want more, you have to color your stamp again, spritz with water, stamp. The wonderful thing about the mat is that you kind of create this little reservoir of ink that you can continue to go back to and stamp your flower again and again and again repeatedly. I'm going to cover this whole entire panel with this beautiful magnolia flower just with that ink that we scribbled out in the very beginning with those Tombow dual brush pens. So it's pretty awesome. I'll now hold the panel up to the camera so you can see the beautiful soft watercolor look and the beautiful variation of color we got with our three different Tombow dual brush pens. I'll just now clean up my mat with a damp chamois. You could also use a damp microfiber towel or even a baby wipe. Once I'm done wiping it all down, I'll dry the surface a little bit with a very soft towel, and that will get the surface all ready for me to try this technique again, but this time with ink pads. So for our second panel, I'm going to use Distress Ink Minis. I have three colors picked out. I'm starting with Mustard Seed, which is my lightest color. You definitely want to start with your lightest color just to avoid cross-contamination when you're applying one ink pad after the other. Then I moved on to Pick Raspberry, and I'm finishing up with Mermaid Lagoon. Now these colors are not necessarily right next to each other on the color wheel, but I know that they mix nicely together. The pink mixes with the yellow to make orange. The blue mixes with the yellow to make green, and the blue mixes with the pink to make a purple. So they actually all mix pretty well together, so that's why I chose them. And again, I just spritzed the ink with water, and then I inked up my stamp with that liquid ink, and then I just go directly to my A2 panel with my inked up stamp. And you can see how cool and colorful this panel is turning out. And you can see here I am able to come back to that reservoir ink over and over again to completely cover this A2 panel with these flowers. It is getting muddier as I work my way down, but I still have enough kind of clean areas to kind of re-ink and still have some true colors. You could use other dye inks for this. All Distress inks work really well. Distress oxides would work really well, and any other dye inks that you have. The minis make it especially convenient because they're smaller size, so it's easier to get those little bursts of colors here and there in your little reservoir of ink. And now that I'm all done stamping, I can hold the panel up to the camera so you can see that watercolor look as well as the beautiful rainbow kind of we were able to create on that magnolia with those three Distress inks. And I'll just clean my mat with my damp chamois, and I'm all ready to assemble my card. So I did let my panels dry just a bit, but it doesn't take very long. They weren't that wet. And you can see now that they're dried, they do kind of even look better, I think, once they've dried. And here's the rainbow one. I'll hold that one up to the camera too, so you can again get another look at that. Love all the colors we got with those three Distress inks. That's a really fun one too. And so to finish up this card, we're going to keep it really simple. I'm going to start with just gluing the panels onto some the card bases. So I have two A2 top folding card bases, and I'm just going to use liquid glue here to glue that stamped panel down. I'm using Tumble Mono multi-liquid adhesive here, but you could also use a tape runner if you prefer. Once I've got those two panels stuck down, I have already created sentiments here. I've used the Greeting Labels stamp set. I'll show it right here. It's a really great stamp set. Lots of wonderful sayings that you can really customize the words and create your own saying. I stamped out hello and beautiful. I stamped it on black cardstock and then white heat embossed it, and then cut it out with the matching dies that come with that Greeting Label stamp set. I also added foam tape to the back and then just adhered the sentiments down onto the center of the front of the card. Now I'm going to finish up this card very simply with some white enamel dots. These are Waffle Flower's new Clean and Clear set of enamel dots. You get these beautiful white ones in 2 sizes, but you could also get clear ones as well. So I'm just positioning those in any of the open spaces on this card. So once I finish with those enamel dots, the card is done. I just love how those dots kind of fill in the space and really complete the card. And look at that gorgeous faux watercolor stamping, just so pretty and so easy to do. I can't get over how easy it is. I also finished the rainbow one. This time I used the clear enamel dots from the Clean and Clear set, and again I think it works really well with those beautiful rainbow colors. Just such a fun and colorful card. I hope you guys enjoyed today's cards and video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want any more information on the products I use, please visit Waffle Flower, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. I'll see you again soon.